Hey everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we bet on every single individual sport, just not most of the sports and not really the sports part of the one sport we do bet on. I'm your host, Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host, Austin Huff.
Sorry if I sound distracted. I'm checking my email right now. Oh my gosh. Wow. I was just named an alternate for the Pro Bowl.
They've made it to the H's already. They really have. They have, huh?
It is unreal. Like the Pro Bowl, it should just be just a bowl. Like, because it's to the point now where I'm pretty sure guys that aren't even professional football players are going to it.
Yeah, they're going to have to add NIL to get guys to show up to the Pro Bowl at some point.
And you know what's funny is like the NFL cares less about the Pro Bowl than the actual players themselves do. It is like I tried searching for the list of events that they have at the new Pro Bowl games that they've got going on, mainly because I was probably the only person searching for this. But it cannot be found on NFL.com.
No,
the website for the NFL.
It's literally the place to find it is like nbcsports.co.uk/praba.
/Toronto. Toronto. It's like the Toronto affiliate of NBC Sports.
Things to do Orlando.com/top 10 list. And it's like just behind a DJ. We got to let everyone know
even
if this
there
is your
it's
first
at the
time.
bottom.
If this is your first time listening to the podcast, every week we have a new guest on. We get 1,000 fake dollars to that guest to bet across 6 very real, very measurable, very stupid, not real bets in the NFL that we come up with. So we have different sports guests, different comedian guests, pop culture people all over. Come on and see how good they are at betting fake cash on really real fake bets. And now it's Pro Bowl week, so this is the most appropriate we've felt the whole time. I tried to come up and think with like ideas to fix the Pro Bowl, to make the Pro Bowl better, because it used to be a football game and everyone hated that. Although this feels like the college football playoff dialogue, where no matter what people do, everyone's gonna be like, because we need to fill the void. We can only talk about.
I almost feel like that discourse is more passionate just because people want to watch. This is to the point where
it's about like what's the best viewing experience.
Yeah, this is like more along the lines of like, we've wanted to put this dog down for years, and yet it's gone blind in both eyes, deaf in both ears, and yet we're still keeping it alive just for comfort, just because we don't know what else. We would be lonely this weekend, the weekend between football. Honestly, I think the Super Bowl should go back to being the week after the championship weekend, and I think the Pro Bowl should just be put down.
If they're going to keep
far
it,
beyond the point.
At least just throw it right before the combine when everyone is like, "Yeah, I'll watch guys run. I miss it so much. I'll watch a guy run. I miss everything so much. I'll watch a guy run." Like then you could have all the Super Bowl guys in it as well. Have it be low, no contact, no nothing, but it's just throw it in May. Throw it right before the draft when you're doing your crazy draft buildup. Let them. Here's what you can do. Okay, everyone, you guys think the best college football team could beat the worst NFL team? There's your Pro Bowl. There's your Pro Bowl. Trot Ohio State out against the Tennessee Titans, and you know what? And if Tennessee wins, give them 2 second-round picks. Give them another pick at the end of the second round, and but it's not allowed to be a guy from Ohio State. That's the rule. If Ohio State wins, they're the Titans now.
Right. Well, and I'm almost
and they
like,
won't win.
Why not?
That's how confident I am in this changeup. Is Ohio State would lose to Tennessee by 200 if Tennessee wanted that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I say this, but like, why not have the bottom 2 teams play for the number 1 pick overall in the draft?
Maybe starting next year, just for your sake.
Thank you, because that would be another game the Titans would lose. I feel like though that players would opt out of that as well, especially players that are about to be free agents, knowing that the game means nothing, and you wouldn't be able to do it, the week of playoffs, because those players would still have to like practice throughout the playoffs without playing. So that idea is like, it's not actually possible.
What if we did this? There's got to be what if we did this? All the new coaching hires have to play against each other. No prep, no nothing. You have to get Schottenheimer out there with the Cowboys day 1 against Pete Carroll and the Raiders.
Just the players, just playing flag football.
Yeah, somehow I would root. I think Pete Carroll would win and lose if they're doing
Yeah,
that.
right. Pete Carroll would be the all-time quarterback.
I think there has to, I don't know. Ultimately, they've tried all of the stuff people ever jokingly suggested, and it still is not fun to watch.
The
But because
neon uniforms when it was like
yeah,
Team Jerry Rice versus Team Dion. It's like
yeah.
we don't watch football for the
I think I
coaches.
would rather watch retired guys play flag football than current players.
I would too. I'd even be okay if they brought back the quarterback challenge. You remember when they used to air that like on
Oh
a
yeah,
they used to randomly on ESPN2 back in the day. You'd
where we
flip it
all
on.
realized that Jeff George actually has the greatest arm in the history of the
Yeah, yeah,
NFL.
yeah, right. You're like, oh damn. Like, how does this not
Did Jeff
translate to
George
the
just throw the
field better?
ball 95 yards?
Yeah. Is
And
Jeff George the best
he
quarterback
has like
ever?
he's just throwing the ball 100 yards and then losing his hair at the same time. Like he's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
this
yeah.
like balding guy in
You're
jorts
like,
throwing the ball 100
wow, I
yards.
guess playing for Detroit really does hold him back.
I think maybe they should do the thing where they address all of everyone's issue. Try 80 different kickoffs in front of us and let us
Yeah.
pick which one we like. Do an onside kick challenge where you see who can make the most onside kicks out of 15. Although that's like the most dangerous play in the league.
Yeah.
Uh, do something. I don't know. I
I
probably
mean,
won't
I
watch either.
credit to like the NBA. The NBA All-Star game was getting stale and getting kind of uncompetitive,
Yeah,
and they incentivized it
they
somehow
did.
to where you actually got real
Yeah,
basketball
and they
and
also
it like
made it to
became
like
intense.
have a game-winning shot no matter what, basically.
Yeah, it was very confusing. It was very much like solving the equation on the chalkboard at MIT,
Yeah.
what like figuring out how that scoring worked in the fourth quarter, but they figured it out and it got the players juiced up. And Major League Baseball, whatever it may be, I feel like Major League Baseball has consistently have people love to clown on baseball. Baseball has had the
Yeah.
best All-Star
I mean, nothing will
weekend
beat the
of
home
any
run
of
derby.
them.
Even the dunk contest has to be
Mhm.
the greatest dunk contest will barely beat the worst home run derby.
Yeah.
And
Well, and even when
they're
the home
finally
run
letting
derby
them
started to get stale, like they added the clock, which
yeah.
like that has been
And
phenomenal. Like the home run
they're
derby
letting
is
them
a
go
must
back to
watch.
their wearing their regular uniforms this year, which is a great move in baseball.
Right. That's the thing.
Um
Baseball does make that's the one thing. Now, I won't say the one thing because I
they
do
won't
love
promote the
baseball.
greatest player of all time who plays in the second biggest city in the country. They're not going to like have you start to know who that is. But
Yeah. Right. Which one are you talking about? Mike Trout or
there's
Shohei
two of
Ohtani?
them here.
Honestly. Yeah,
Um,
right.
so I want to get in here because it's Pro Bowl week, and so I want to get in here with our guest who just hopped into our waiting room. NFL Championship. Matt Hamilton was on here last week. I'll recap really quick across our six bets. Matt lost $600. Most of his was lost betting on Dan Quinn doing an air jerk motion, which did not happen. That was our biggest
That
loss
didn't
bet of the week.
happen.
Zero. I waited a few days to ask my commander's friend because I didn't want to ask him right after the game if he saw one,
Yeah.
but
That's
he was
good
watching for
move.
me. Shout out Danny Jollis. Uh, um, he did not. So we all lost money on
Former
that. Matt
former
lost
guest on this
former guest on the show.
podcast.
And oh, there goes my mic. And cast member of My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And very funny stand-up. Anyways, Danny told me there was no air jerk. Matt lost $1,050 on that bet. Some weird bets that did all right. This one, here we go. Over under 1.5 flop attempts in the Chiefs Bills game. I don't think we need to talk too much about any Chiefs Bills specifics. The world is so we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah.
There
I
was
think you
one,
can get that content
yeah.
in other places
There
this week.
was one flop attempt, so it hit the under. We put it at 1.5, and it was Travis Kelce after a touchdown in a fake fight with DeMar Hamlin.
That okay, I did see that flop. Yeah, it was very.
And it's just
I was
almost
like, I
like
think that counts.
Travis is only having a good time doing the non-football part. Although I've never seen him having more fun just blocking and yelling at guys. It's like his brother is inside of him in spirit now. And Travis is like, yeah, I'll catch it, I guess, but I'd rather shove over a guy who died 2 years ago.
Yeah, right, right, right.
We landed, so he lost $600. He lost money on that one as well. He hit the over. You and I both won on that one. Austin, you lost $200. Your biggest loss was neither quarterback. You bet on the bet was will both quarterbacks in Chiefs Bills land between 225 and 350 total yards, and they did. And you bet on no. So that's the brisket smoking time and the wing frying time temperatures.
I I never have been good at cooking.
They let them cook. Tress Way also did not have. He only had one punt, even though they lost by. It's really weird to have one punt and lose by 30 almost.
It really is. That's got to be like I think the Reds or excuse me, the Commanders are immune to punting. Like I think they just like they're allergic to it. And so
He
they
also
they
went for it
do
on
as
fourth
little punting
down
as possible.
4 times on the first drive and then still kicked a field goal, which feels like psychotic mixed messages to send your team. We're going for it no matter what. All right, 4th and 3 from the 6, kick it.
Kick it.
You're like, okay. I gained $400 last week. My big winner was the lock of the quarterbacks landing and the cook temps. So it
Mhm.
brings the totals for the year. Austin, you're at $6,412. I'm at $11,590. We were once again close on all of our lines. Jaden Daniels' longest touchdown over under 27 and a half. He had a 36-yard touchdown. Um, it was all pretty close the entire time. Yeah, but sorry, the Tressway punt yards. He had it was more Tressway punt yards or points for Kevin Durant, who's a Commanders fan, and Kevin Durant had 53 points versus 45 punting yards. So
Yeah.
even on
You're
that,
right. And that was 53 in two games
in
too.
two
Like that
games,
was
yes,
two
yes,
games for Kevin
Saturday and
Durant.
Monday. So we
Yeah.
got to get into Pro Bowl. Bets were harder to come by in this one, I'll say. And we have a great guest I think we need to let in here and get going.
Yeah, this week we got Tony Squares, who, if you aren't following this guy on socials right now, you need to, especially if you like sports. Let's get to him. Really excited to finally be doing something with this guy right here because we've known each other for a couple of years now, and he is honestly, and that's really what all this podcast has become is just me getting on people on this podcast that I really enjoy following online. And he is definitely that for me. He makes incredible content. I met him through country music star Ryan Hurd, who initially introduced me to him, and we've been, I would say, friends ever since. Since it is Pro Bowl week, we had to
hmm
bring on a Pro Bowler in and of himself. Follow him if you like sports. He is Tony Squares. Search Tony Squares on any of the social platforms, and you will find him in the thousands of followers, tens of thousands of followers that follow him on all of the platforms. Tony, how are you, man?
I'm doing very well. I appreciate those kind words. I also have been following you guys for a long, long time and appreciate all the funny stuff you put out there on the interwebs. And I do want to thank you guys. I've been wanting to come on here for a while, and I do want to send seriously, my utter gracious thanks to have me on the highest rated week of your season with the Pro Bowl here. Very excited.
Well, we were looking ahead and we were like, what is there? Are there any big
No.
games coming up? And Austin was like, there's actually 7 big games on one day. There's
Yeah.
dodgeball. There's
Yeah.
there's a 4x1 relay.
No, Tony, you should know, like working in and around media, I feel like you know that like on these weeks where traction is low, that's when
Mhm.
you pull out the big hitter of a guest where it brings
Yeah.
the draw it's the Tony Squares that brings the draw,
It's like
not
adding
the
a
Pro Bowl.
cameo to a struggling sitcom.
No, well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. So to the three people that are listening to this Pro Bowl episode, you're gonna enjoy it. I brought my A game.
I do think if there's any podcast, especially sports related podcast, that the Pro Bowl is a week to shine, it is this one because we put forth the effort every week that the NFL puts forth this week, which
Yeah,
Oh
is
my gosh.
just a minute ago, you didn't even know what time zone the Pro Bowl was in.
I did not. I did not. You told me it was on Orlando. That was a shock to me. Couldn't tell you what day it is, let alone what time it is coming up this weekend. I just know some highlights will be on Twitter, and I'll be like, "This is the Pro Bowl now," and that's what the NFL wants.
I somehow
I
the Pro Bowl is the only way I monitor what length athletic shorts are in.
uh,
I'll
that's
just
very
see
true.
like a highlight and be like, knee length again?
Yeah.
That's where
Wow,
we're in.
okay. Yeah,
You
that's
like
good.
high
I
socks still? Okay. All
Right,
right.
right. Please, just not the ones that are like half ankle, half high. I feel like
Yeah.
uphill battle to get rid of those my whole life. It
I,
is,
I'd be willing to
yeah,
bet that I'd be willing to bet there's a bunch of players that are supposed to be playing in the Pro Bowl games that have not even gotten their flights booked yet by the
right.
NFL.
They'll get like an
No
It's
idea.
iCal notification that's like, if you leave
yeah,
now,
yeah.
you'll be on time to Tug-of-War.
Goodell's gonna wake up tomorrow morning and be like, "Oh shit, is that today?"
It is. We talked a little bit about this. Austin and I did in like the intro for this episode of just how do you fix it? Because I feel like they've tried all of the things and none of it's worked.
Here's the thing. I don't what are you trying to get out of it? Like, if we're
Right.
going to talk seriously about it, what are you trying to get out of it? Are you trying to look for ratings the day of? Are you trying to look that this is an accomplishment people put on their Hall of Fame resumes? Like, what are you trying to get out of the actual Pro Bowl? Because to me, a lifelong NFL fan, speaking seriously, a Pro Bowl should matter. Like, you being on the Pro Bowl
Hmm.
team should be
Yeah.
something you put on your trophy case behind you. And yet now it's like Drake May is appearing in the Pro Bowl. So it
Drake
doesn't
Yeah.
May.
mean
Drake
anything.
May. You'll see these
I was
players all
literally.
the time, and I only really come from like specifically. Every team has these guys where you're like, he was a three-time All-Pro, zero-time Pro Bowler,
Yeah.
and you're like,
That
how? How?
saying someone is a Pro Bowler, I almost look at them more negatively now because
Yeah.
here's a blind resume of a Pro Bowler. Okay, threw for 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns to 10 interceptions with
Hmm.
a 58.6 quarterback rating, good for 17th best in the
It's
NFL.
like Derrick Henry's career passing stats.
Honestly, that's Drake May, Pro Bowler Drake May, who will now, like Drake
Yeah.
May's agent, will now use that in terms
Yes.
when renegotiating contracts. Oh, remember when he made the Pro Bowler?
And this worked
Never
out
mind, it
well the
was like as
last
a
time the
fifth
Patriots had
alternate.
a too young quarterback make the Pro Bowl when he shouldn't. It certainly
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
then show that was the best year of his career.
He did do the gritty in the end zone. I think, did he catch an 80-yard
I
pass? I
think he
forget what
caught a
happened.
touch. I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
it. I tried to look up the Pro Bowl information to write bets about this, and Austin even brought the website. The NFL website doesn't list information about it.
They talk
No.
about the Pro Bowl less than Sports Talk Radio does.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I do have a question though, because I know Austin's the diehard Tennessee Titans fan. Kyle, I don't know who your team is, but I know that a lot of people in the Corkbacks universe are paying attention to the Tennessee Titans and might know
Mhm.
my face from stuff I've said about the Tennessee Titans before. I just want to ask, in my world of Tennessee, I know Drake May got the invite. Russell Wilson's out going to the Pro Bowl. How many more declines did the NFL need to get before Will Levis got the invite?
I think two. I think we're down to like two, and then it's Mason. If Mason Rudolph says no, then they go to
It
Will
is a
Levis.
surprisingly few amount to get there.
Yeah,
It's a
we're that
surprisingly
close.
low amount. I mean,
Yeah,
you're picking from
it's
essentially
sad.
11 guys. If you break into like injuries and quarterbacks switching jobs and amount of guys who
Well,
started
and
significant games, you're like, we need four of the 11 and one can't because he's in the Super Bowl. So we need four
I
out of 10 guys.
I think if you want to pinpoint where the Pro Bowl started to decline, it was basically when they added that second week of Super Bowl and moved the Pro Bowl in that in between week because you're already missing out. Literally, the two best teams in football, the Eagles and the Chiefs, are sending no one to the Pro Bowl because they have
Yeah.
a slightly
Yeah.
bigger game going down just a week later. So, like, if you want to like move the if you actually want to make something of it, which I think they just need to end it. Just let's call a spade a spade. This is we're staying together for the kids at this point
I
with
feel
the
like,
Pro
yeah,
Bowl.
it's weird because there is all pro, which is significantly more weight, especially when it comes
Hmm.
to like Hall of Fame voting. And then, but how do you make a thing that is a tier lower than that that guys can have bigger numbers of? That
Yeah.
seems to be what they're trying to do.
I mean, I have a great idea. Put it in Hawaii because I think that's when the Pro Bowl
Yes,
split
I
apart. Was when they
agree.
moved it out of Hawaii.
That is
It was
another great
something
take.
out
They
there.
Yeah.
a lot of guys a free vacation planned out in Hawaii after the season with their
Like they looked
families
forward to
is
that.
something to
Yeah.
look forward to. I
Yeah.
mean, I know these guys have not all of them have all of the money.
But now you can go to beautiful Orlando.
Right.
Hey,
I know.
check out downtown Disney.
You want to go play tug-of-war near Disney adults?
Yeah. Hey, I think Epcot might have a new ride. I
I
don't
think
know.
there's someone spreading their late wife's ashes in the middle of the flag football game field in Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh my
Oh
God.
man.
Don't worry though,
We're gonna
you're
get
nowhere near the beach.
nowhere near nowhere near anything Florida has to offer. I don't know what to do. Maybe this is the new international game that we move to
That would
Germany
be
or the
fun.
new
I
country.
think that would be
you know?
fun.
Just change it up. Do something with it because
It
the
is,
same old product
yeah.
ain't working.
I really
Either
like
way,
it. Yeah.
I,
Anyways.
I'm excited to make fake bets about it. I am.
I mean, even now,
Well,
if I look at the announcement of the operations.nfl.com about what this is where I was looking at the format. Before they even mention football, they are thanking Bud Light, satisfying catches presented by Snickers, Tug of War, the company Tug of War, I guess. And then also they have to mention Peyton's and Eli's Omaha production. You know what I mean? It's like this is 16 ads
Yep.
before I even get to them being like, here's what day it is.
They really lost me when I was reading up on the Pro Bowl, and the only reason I was doing so was for this podcast. But the when you go to it's talking about the pregame festivities, and they bring up the fact that the national anthem is being sung by none other than, and I lost it, by some a country star, which I work in country radio, so I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of country music. But it said country superstar. It was like Peyton Presley or something, and I was like, not definitely not a superstar. Like, if we're gonna use the term superstar, we're looking at the Luke Bryans.
To be fair, this is a superstar, and this is graded on a curve of who the quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl are. So you got to assume if you're in the Pro Bowl and as a quarterback, you're a superstar. So they're like, well, Drake May has the same amount of Spotify listeners.
Yeah.
It's also who is in driving distance of Greater Orlando area. That's who he had to reach for.
And they didn't tell you what country.
No,
they meant swamp country.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh! All right, well, listen.
I looked up all the stuff. We looked this all up. We got 6 bets. We'll lay them all out for you.
$1,000 of fake cash to bet.
Yeah. Great, fantastic.
All right.
What's the high score? What am I aiming for? I really want to set my sights high here.
Currently, first place is Mike Keith, former voice of the Tennessee Titans, and I'm sure it hurts Austin when I say former. Because he was the voice of the Tennessee Titans
this past season.
He was the voice of the Tennessee Titans when we recorded, and then not the voice anymore by the time the episode came out.
When I say nothing has gone right for the Tennessee Titans this year, I legitimately mean
I think Austin talked this guy
right.
into quitting his job and taking the Tennessee Vols job.
You know what's funny is, like, we had him on back in October, and there were rumors because Bob Kessling, the voice of the Tennessee Volunteers, had just announced he was retiring at the end of the year, and so there were murmurs like, oh, the next logical voice is like, oh, Tennessee grad.
That's how you know your NFL team's doing well. The next logical voice is that this guy leaves the NFL to come.
The NFL,
like Bill Belichick's his way down.
Which, let's be honest, like Tennessee's like the closest thing to an NFL program in the college ranks as anything. But
I thought you meant in the professional ranks. I was like, yeah, they're almost a professional team too.
Well, the Tennessee Titans are basically volunteers.
They honestly, if they swapped places, I don't think anyone would notice.
No.
But the Mike Keith, we asked him, we said, are you going to take the, is there any truth to these rumors? And he was like, well,
it was the most, it was such a politician answer. You could see Austin's heart like drop because you're just like, there's an answer here if it's no.
He didn't say no. Yeah, he did not say
so
no.
Mike Keith has 1,800. So that's kind of what you're hovering around, and 13 or 1,400 gets you on the podium.
Great.
And great. Negative $2,998.75 is the last place.
Yeah, that might be something to shoot for as well, depending on how frisky we want to get here. But Austin, I will say that does mean there's an opening for the voice of the Tennessee Titans, my friend. And if you want to throw your hat in the ring, I think they'd take anyone at this point.
Raw, that's the only thing is I had someone tweet at me nominating me for the role, and I retweeted and I said, I think, well, that's one vote that I have for the job. And then someone else tweeted and said, after every touchdown, it'd be like, are the Titans back? People are asking.
Yeah, is the voice of the Titans allowed to say, I'm just so fucking done with it at this point?
I just slam my headset down by the second quarter of every game.
Oh, man.
Right.
Good times are coming, though. Good times are coming.
Yeah. In 2040.
That's sadly sooner than you think if you do the math.
That's
Austin,
true.
2040 is as close to now as when we were in college.
Wow, thanks for that,
don't need
Kyle.
to get depressing. This is a comedy podcast.
I've just been counting down the remaining years I'm going to enjoy being a Chiefs fan because I know that I'm in the good old days right now, and I'm really trying to enjoy it.
Yeah. How do you know? Well, just know right now.
They're like, how do you know you're in the good old days? You're like, well, it's psychotically good.
Yeah, right. And it's only getting
impossibly
worse.
Good.
It's impossibly good.
Every waking moment is a worse moment.
I watched Tyler Thigpen highlights the other day just to feel. Did you know the video is only 2 minutes long? And it's not a highlights, it's a compilation of all of his plays.
Tony, you said earlier that you weren't sure who Kyle's a fan of. We're literally covering the entire spectrum of NFL fandom because I am a Titans fan and Kyle is a Chiefs fan. So it is literally it is like two people that are in totally different worlds co-hosting a podcast about fake betting together. And
you came to a fork in the road. And that fork in the road was Chris Johnson and Jamal Charles's knees giving, and I went one direction. And Austin,
I know we're belaboring the point of starting this show, but at what point do you quit Tennessee? Like how bad would it have to be for how long?
I think most people quit Tennessee when they just get gentrified out of it.
It is true. Nashville is growing like crazy. I feel like I've thought about that before. Honestly, about 17 times this past season. And I don't think I can at this point. It's like it's one of those people. I have an addiction. And, until my family intervenes, which I think they've tried to multiple times, they just happen to do it, usually clocking that noon window on Sundays, and which in case I'm busy. I don't think I will ever quit it. And
you're saying that like Meredith has never instigated a Titanervention?
Okay.
At what point do the kids get old enough and say, like, Dad, we don't like you on Sundays? Like what?
My daughter, I'll say tighten up to my daughter, and she'll be like, "It will." And she, obviously she goes.
Her first words were, "I'm good."
Bears fans. No, she'll go tighten down and bear up. And I'm like, okay, that's not a good forecast for the future.
Hey, to be fair, at least she's going to inflict even more pain on herself. She's like, don't worry, the Bears are my number one team. The Titans will be my number two. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. You are destined for pain, sweetheart.
You never know.
Love you, but...
I mean, I really am like in a very you just never know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of folks who need charity, Tony, we like to take the $1,000 of fake winnings, or excuse me, the $1,000 of fake cash that we give to you, whatever winnings you come from it, we don't want to keep for ourselves, obviously. No. We want to in turn donate it to fake good causes. So is there a fake charity that you'll be playing for this week?
Yeah, and it's fitting that it's happening this week, considering we've just heard so many over the past week, all these new things that are happening in our lives, these new initiatives that are being put out there, that there is one more, it may have gone past the radar, that this new administration has put out, and it's called MOGA. It's Make the Oscars Great Again. I don't know if you gentlemen have seen any of the Oscar movies, the Best Picture nominated movies this season, but we're in a valley, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's real bad. I mean, Honora is a softcore adult film. The Brutalist will only be remembered by your freshman year drama teacher. Conclave doesn't make any sense. I am sadly a straight white man, so I'm not allowed to critique the substance, but I do have many thoughts about it. And our boy Timothy Chardonnay, his work as Bob Dylan, I mean, listen, if I have to see one more meek little boy cosplay a musical great that our parents enjoyed in order to get their name into a word conversation, I'm going to throw myself off the balcony behind me. I'm over it.
It was so jarring this year because it's like you asked ChatGPT to generate the plots of 8 Oscar movies.
100%.
Oh, are you talking about biopic? Are you talking about like weird sci-fi movie? Are you talking about Holocaust movie? Are you talking about big production? Are you talking about Christian religious controversial fever? Or are you talking about like indie upstart movie with an very odd cinematography like Nickel Boys, which I didn't see, but I think is like shot in an interesting way.
There's a quota they have to meet every single year, and they checked all the boxes this year.
Except they didn't check the box that is a good movie. And I want it like...
I struggled to think what I would want to replace any of these. That's what I found.
Yeah.
It was just a real valley of a year. And then there'll be some years where you'll be like, wait, There Will Be Blood didn't win Oscars?
Right, right.
Yeah.
There's years that the movies are great, and this is not one of
Yeah.
them. Like the tent poles of Dune and Wicked, those are always going to be good. I'm clearly talking about the dramatic films, those
Yeah.
those best picture films, the ones that you only watch so you can talk about them at a cocktail party. Those are
Yeah.
the films that we're missing this year. And you don't want to be that guy in the party that has nothing to say. You also don't want to be that guy at the party that says, "Oh, all those movies stink." Well, guess what, guys? Those movies stink this year. And so Moga is here to I don't know exactly how we're going to fix it, whether we're going to raise money to get Daniel Day-Lewis out of retirement, whether we're going to exhume the and reanimate the corpse of Philip Seymour Hoffman, whether we're going to clone a younger version of Marty Scorsese so we can finally make a movie that doesn't take half a day to watch. I'm not sure how we're going to fix it. And like most Trumpian plans, it's not really a roadmap to success, but I do know if I create enough smoke, I can get the people behind
It's
us to think
a
that this is a
right.
problem.
It is a really, really good acronym,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
catchy to say. It is. I'm looking at like past years because I'm all once again. It is on paper. These are the ones. This makes sense. You're just like, yeah, if you byline me every one of these movies and two of them stars the most famous kid, everything is lining up. I'm happy that Dune and Wicked are in there. I feel like those are the reasons they expanded the amount
Yep.
of nominees so they can put the movies everyone actually liked in there, even if they don't give
Yep.
them anything. Um, but then you look back like last year, was last year was when Oppenheimer won, right? Just last year.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, well, I think Oppenheimer and I think Killers of the Flower Moon and I honestly
Mhm.
think Poor Things and I think The Zone of Interest all probably would have won this year. Like, I think
Yeah.
these are
Oh
four
yeah.
movies that
Yeah.
would have been giant front runners. I think Barbie would have had shot at acting awards this year. I think that
Yeah.
there's like just such a change. And the year before with Everything Everywhere All at Once, there are really, yeah. I mean,
It's
who
bad this year.
there needs to be a time when we stop calling impressions acting.
Ooh, I like this
And I'm
take.
not really, I don't want to go full on into it because I actually haven't seen I'm Still Here. I bet it's great. And I love this kid. Timothy Chalamet is so normal feeling that I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't think there's nothing against anything he's doing. And I love Dune, especially part two.
Hmm.
He's great. He's a movie star. I love it. I, we all know what Bob Dylan sounds like.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was a
It's
Kennedy, Austin. And
I
I'm like, it is a really good impression. And then the more he talked about how long he practiced it, the less impressed I was. He was like, I've been working on this for 32 years. I'm like, yeah,
we've seen it over and over again. The one kid did Elvis. We had what's his face do Elton John. We had Freddie
yeah,
Yeah.
Mercury. Oh, the past few years, over and over again. And that's all it is. It's not
yeah.
acting. It's an
And we
impression.
rewarded the
Yeah.
wrong one of all of them.
Yes,
Bohemian
we
Rhapsody
did.
was the worst of any of these four movies that we're talking about.
So
I'm
yeah, I'm
fully
over
on
it.
for this. I love Moga.
Well,
Uh, um,
I feel like it should be pretty easy to get everyone in Hollywood on board with Moga.
Yeah, I think the
It shouldn't be
easiest way
hard.
to get it across is to tap your heart and then hold the statue up at an angle in front of your head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, but in their defense, though, we're coming out of COVID, you guys. So maybe next year
it's going to be
will
like
be better.
2039, and they'll be like, the COVID repercussions on the film industry are.
Oh man.
All right.
Hopefully.
So make the Oscars great again. I actually love this charity, and Kyle does too. Kyle
Yeah.
hosts Never Seen It, a very popular film podcast where comedians rewrite scripts of movies that they have not seen yet, which I'm sure
Mm.
this year's Oscars will create a lot of content for
Yeah,
you,
I mean, pretty
Kyle.
much everyone I've had on is like, also, I haven't seen any of the Oscar nominated
Any of the
movies this year. And I'm
Oscar
like, well, we're
yeah.
holding off on that for now,
Yeah.
but thank you.
All right. So Tony, we're
All
going to
right, six
present
bets.
six bets for you. You got $1,000 of fake cash. You don't have to bet on all six. We just ask that you bet on at least two,
Hmm.
and one of the which will be your lock of the week, which is double the winnings or triple the losses.
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you got for your first bet?
Number one, I'm starting off simple here. The coaches of the two teams in the flag football game. Football is actually one of the games they're playing at the Pro Bowl. They're
Good.
playing football.
Good.
It is the Pro Bowl starts Thursday, ends Sunday.
Why?
because they thought that this deserved 4 times as many days as the Super Bowl. And and I don't even know which of the days flag football is. It's not listed, but I assume it's Sunday.
I think it's Sunday. Yeah.
Peyton and Eli are the coaches of the two teams because the NFL is like Saturday Night Live. They're not going to let you learn who any of the new people are. They're going to bring back a couple of old people every episode.
Great pull.
We're here to showcase all of our new talent by having the same 3 people you've ever seen stand out in front and do impressions.
Yeah. You're like, oh, sweet, Fred Armisen's back.
Oh, good. It's nice to see Alec Baldwin get a shot. Well, actually, sometimes it's not nice to see Alec Baldwin get a shot. Historically, it's even if it's 1 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Peyton and Eli are the coaches of the team. And we also just all pretend that they were equally good players, which I think is hilarious. Like everyone's like Peyton and Eli, 2 of the best. I'm like, this was not a Jason and Travis Kelce, like 2 clear-cut great players situation.
Yeah,
anyways,
right.
Peyton is 48 and Eli is 44. Over under the score of the game exceeding their combined age.
Fantastic bet.
So their combined age is 92. Last year's combined score was in the mid 80s.
Oh, thank you for telling me that because I have no idea what this flag football.
I don't even know how that got up to. If you look up the score, they're like flag football was 50 something to 30 something, but the Pro Bowl was 60 something to 30. And I'm like, what are you fucking? Yeah. How's the Pro Bowl have this many point? It's like Family Feud where you're like, oh, where there is a first and second round, but we don't care.
You could have told me that the flag football game is the Pro Bowl game, and I would have believed you. I don't even know if they put pads on anymore.
10 events, I think.
Fantastic. This is a great bet, 48 to 44. It's going to be the first one that I'm going to take because we're going to combine that number. And I believe the NFL believes the way to fix the Pro Bowl is by highlight packages and having people score and showing off and doing all the cool things. Yeah. I think this game is into the 50s because the NFL fluffs it up. So I'm taking the over. And I would like to take 200 of my fake dollars and put that on the hard over. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
My next bet. Their dodgeball, which I do think is actually probably the most fun thing that they've added because these guys have to. The dodgeball actually ends up being everyone starts goofy, you know what I mean? Like backyard, and then you get hit in the face with a dodgeball that a guy threw, and you get a little mad. Dodgeball is a 3-round tournament of dodgeball, 6 teams, 5 players, blah, 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 blah. Basically, what position is last standing in dodgeball?
Ooh.
Running back, wide receiver, quarterback, or other. Running back pays 2 to 1. Wide receiver is even odds. Quarterback pays 4 to 1. Other pays 5 to 1. Very proud of this bet. Last year, Saquon Barkley was the last person standing in dodgeball.
Yeah, he won't be there this year.
But I think he still might end up being the last person standing in the NFL.
Well, I don't know. Saquon's so good. He honestly might win dodgeball and still play in the Super Bowl.
So those are, but I feel like wide receiver is who I'd give the best odds to simply because a catch has an exceeding amount of weight to it in dodgeball where you get someone back.
Why is there no defensive players playing dodgeball? Because the other involves all those defensive backs and linebackers who are just as athletic.
What I watched when I looked at the rosters would there'd be like a defensive back, but mostly goofy big guys. So they're like it's like a quarterback, a wide receiver to a running back, and then just like wouldn't it be hilarious if Vita Vea was playing or something like that? And it was hilarious and awesome.
Do we know Drake May's prowess with a dodgeball?
Surprisingly, the first year they did dodgeball, actually unsurprisingly, Alex Smith was so good at it. Because all it is 4-yard passes at a guy's legs.
Yeah. I was going to say
checking it down to everybody.
It also requires throwing the ball at the other team, which Drake May is also very good at.
That's true. So I got even odds on wide receiver, 2 to 1 running back. They haven't announced the rosters yet. 4 to 1 on a quarterback because these guys are. Any opportunity to hit a quarterback was something people get excited about. But they can throw good, but I think they'll get targeted 5 to 1 on other. My third bet, this bet is called Does Anyone Fucking Care? Sunday afternoon, I'm going to text 15 people that I know love the NFL. Over under 2.5 of them watched any of the coverage live.
Under.
Wow.
This is my
Wow.
lock. I'm not even going to wait to
Wow.
hear Austin's bet. This is my lock. 15 and you got to get only 3 hits the over. Yeah, no, there's no chance 20% of the people you text. I don't even know if that math is correct. There's no chance that's the
I
number
think
that
that's
watched
exact
the
math.
Pro
That's
Bowl
great.
live. I'm
Great.
out on this. Taking
And
the
it's
under. I don't know
and
how
the good
much
news
yet.
for you is my
Lock.
dad doesn't have a cell phone, so I can't text him about it because he will be watching.
Well, I do have a question. That's a great question, actually. What is the age range of these friends?
I think that 24 to 40.
Yeah, under. Hard under. If this was like, someone in their 60s, I could see them cracking a beer open and watching it,
Right.
thinking it's live
Like folks who
football.
just watch what's on.
Yeah, exactly. Like their TV's stuck on NFL Network, like my dad with Fox News. Like that's exactly what's going to happen here. So I'm taking the hard under, hard
Yeah.
pass.
I feel like the plot of Dark Knight Rises could play out in the Pro Bowl, and nobody still would not turn on their games and watch.
The
Like,
fights in
oh,
the background of Dark Knight Rises look more realistic than the hits in the NFL Pro Bowl.
Camping World Stadium had a bombs underneath it, and it exploded and imploded on itself.
Hines Ward was there.
Sounds fun.
Hines
Ward
Ward
actually is there.
his only kickoff return for a touchdown in his career, I believe, was in the Dark Knight.
So those are my
Hines
three.
Ward, Hines Ward's playing quarterback for the NFC.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. Do you want to put a dollar amount, or do you want to wait for the rest of the bets for that one, Tony?
I didn't know we were. I might take the dodgeball bet as well. I like all three of those, so I'm gonna wait till the end and give you my full.
My first bet is called the cream of the crap. I want to know, is the winner of any of the events, and I believe I think Kyle said it earlier, 1, 2, 3,
I can list
4,
them off
5,
really
6,
quick if you'd
7,
like.
8. There are 8 events.
Yeah.
Is the winner of any of the 8 events a play for a bottom third team in the NFL?
Does the winner of any of the events play for a bottom third
so that would be a top
NFL?
10 pick in the draft, essentially.
Yeah, we'll eliminate obviously the team events. So Tug-of-Bore is not in, but Dodgeball, the last man standing, is he on one of the bottom third teams in the NFL?
Or Austin, you haven't discussed Helmet Harmony. What are we fucking doing? There were more sane events in the movie Heavyweights.
Helmet Harmony is a game show to test players' knowledge of their teammates, with every correct answer worth 1 point. The team with the most correct answer wins.
I think we found out when they're just going to give the Wonderlick to a bunch of guys again
and see what happens. Yeah. I think I played Helmet Harmony down at U Rustic Inn on every Thursday night. Is that the trivia that goes down there? Helmet Harmony. Also, you said Helmet Harmony. I thought we were getting karaoke for a second. I'd watch that.
I would watch
for about
that.
5 seconds.
I would watch a reel of that.
The face masked singer.
Jeez.
Well, the problem with that one is the NFL wouldn't call it.
That's tough, because the other question is, if we're going to think about this logically, how many of those bottom third teams have a representative in the Pro Bowl?
That's the thing. I don't think the Titans have one.
Yeah, we didn't do a ton of research, and I think that's good for this one.
Yeah. With alternatives, you still never know. The Titans mascot could be playing quarterback at some point. I love the fact that I think one of the events that the Pro Bowl games is really missing is just called concussion protocol. And you just ask the players the questions that they ask when their bell gets
You
wrong.
could just call it concussion Pro Bowl call and just let people not even know what they're getting into. See who can win an MRI.
I do like having, because NFL is all about gambling now. Line up a bunch of NFL players at the Pro Bowl roster and play over under number of concussions they've had in their career. I guarantee you, people would bet on that.
Yes, seriously. Bet MGM has odds.
The Javon Belcher commemorative measurement contest.
Javon Belcher. Speaking of taking shots. All right, my next bet. Rush of excitement. A few years ago in the Pro Bowl. In fact, I think it was the first year of flag football. I actually watched it because I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And in that game, Derrick Henry rushed for a touchdown in the flag football game. He rushed, as in he handed the ball off in a flag football game. So my question is simple. Is there a rushing touchdown in this year's game? Does someone get handed the ball off and they run for a touchdown?
The running
Listen,
backs are Barkley, who's now Bijan Robinson, Jamar Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, and who are the AFC running backs? I can't actually find that out. I don't think they're doing it this
James
year.
Cook is there, sadly.
Yes.
Yeah, Austin, I understand watching the first year of the flag football Pro Bowl because I believe I was depressed that year as well. I As for running the ball into the end zone, again, I'm taking the over on that Peyton Manning's age versus, or whatever the combined age versus the flag football score. So I think I have to have a lot of touchdowns in this game. I might have to parlay it with there's also a rushing touchdown by
Rushing
someone,
touchdown, yeah.
just anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Now there's like a QB scramble count. Is Jaden Daniels going to be there? Drake May. He might run the ball.
Honestly, I don't think the quarterbacks are even allowed to run, yet they can hand off the ball and run it. It's so stupid. There's not even an offensive lineman in flag football like there is in like college and stuff. But I don't know. It's and then my last
there's
bet.
there's gonna be some dumb thing. You know what I mean? There's gonna be some dumb cute thing happening.
Is there a tush push in flag football? What are we doing?
There should be. That should be one of the events, honestly.
Can we talk about how each team there's a fullback in the Pro Bowl, yet there's only 2 fullbacks in the NFL? This is some absolute insanity. Kyle Juszczyk and then the fullback for the Patrick Ricard for the Ravens. They're the only 2 full. Yeah. Imagine you're the 3rd fullback in the NFL, just like wasting away in Miami. You're like, are you fucking kidding me?
He's the alternate, just in case Patrick Ricard said he doesn't want to play.
Kyle Juszczyk sits out because
from the Chargers down there.
They definitely do have one, don't they? The Chargers. I feel like if Harbaugh's your coach, he might be their fullback.
He has one. He's drafted one in 4th round.
My final bet is called Tug-of-Bore. Probably one of the worst events. I think it's one of the worst events that they have at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Is Tug-of-War. Just because it's just grown men saying, "Hey, pull this rope." But at the same time, so wacky the Pro Bowl. Tug-of-War is in the final round of Tug-of-War because I think they play like 3 rounds or something. How many guys fall into the foam pit in the middle? I'm setting the over/under at 1.5.
Of course, there's a foam pit in the middle. Of course, there's a foam pit in the middle. That's why it's in Orlando. It's the only facility that had this already pre-built. They're not going to do it on the Squid Game set.
Yeah, it's at Universal Studios where they used to film American Gladiators.
Right. Is any gack gonna fall on any of the guys?
I was gonna say, is this on the Global Guts set at Universal?
Summer Sanders and Mark O'Malley are sliming the NFL players.
Man.
Back to you, Mo.
I think that there's my initial instinct with this bet is that first off, these guys are going to be like, can we put some of this stuff in the helmets? And then they're going to be NFL players have such toxic masculine egos so often. I feel like they're going to really try to avoid falling in a foam pit.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm with you. I also want to know when we do the tug of war, how do we know that the tug has been won? Like, is there just like a line on the ground, like the yellow mark on your TV that is not official, or do we actually have a chip in the middle of the
They actually
fucking
have 2
row?
referees running in from opposite sides to let you know if they made it or not, and then everyone gets really mad.
All I want to know if the tug of war is more advanced than the actual NFL football game, I might blow up my TV.
They're like, we have a chip in the rope that lets you know forward progress.
Yeah. That's where they're testing it out. Like they tested the kickoff rule in the preseason.
Yeah.
They're testing chip devices in the Pro Bowl.
Actually going to have a real overhead angle.
Yeah.
This comes via CBSSports.com because, again, the NFL doesn't even have these events listed on their own website. But it's on Tug of War, it does say, quote, the competition will be best of 3, and the winner who pulls the opposing team into the foam pit twice wins.
Oh, so you're getting a lot of players in the foam pit.
Yeah, so does that mean all the guys in the foam pit or just one of the guys? I feel like
at least the front guy.
Yeah, right.
At least
right.
the one poor soul that they put in the front. He's the one that's going to get into the foam pit. Probably Drake May.
Foam pit.
Oh man.
Okay, so there are your six bets. You already put $200, and you can change that as well on the over of the combined coaches'
Yeah.
ages, the
Yeah.
flag football game score going over that.
Yeah.
You have $800 left to work with, unless you want to change that price total.
Yeah, feel free to parlay anything. Feel free to adjust anything. Imagine now we put up like a rigorous guideline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For the Pro
Um,
Bowl.
I I'm keeping the 200 on the over in the flag football game over the combined age of said Mannings. And I don't know if there's a birthday from now until the Pro Bowl for one of those Mannings. I hope not. I hope I'm getting the number
That'd
where
be
I
a
think the number
SVP
is.
bad beat of the week.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll keep the 200 there. I'm also going to take, because I'm very confident in this, and I do want to have the number one overall score. And the only way I do that is if I get a little bit aggressive with my money. So I'm taking $300. I'm going to that
Mhm.
dodgeball bet. And I think that dodgeball fight, last man standing, it's going to be won by someone who takes it seriously. And I think the only one who's going to be there to take it seriously enough, probably because God told him to, is Russell Wilson. And so I'm going to take $300 and say a quarterback will be the last man standing in the
Great.
dodgeball tournament. I forget what those
Ooh,
odds were, but they were juicy.
Yes, 4 to 1.
4 to 1.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take Russ. I'll take Drake. I'll take whoever else is out there because God, if I know. And then the last one is $500. This is gonna be my lock. And it was that third bet that we had. There was the dodgeball. There was the
Does
flag
anyone
football.
care?
Does anyone care? Hammer the under. $500, lock of the year. Hammer the under. No one is watching this live. That's how you said it. Are they
Correct.
watching this live at any point from Thursday to Sunday? Somehow
Yeah.
4 days of coverage of the NFL Pro
And I
Bowl.
will
Not a
say,
single soul will be watching
exempt
that
from
live.
this, it does not count if you're just out to eat.
And it's on at the bar at
Right.
the
I'm not gonna
restaurant.
be like, oh yeah, I went to whatever, Chili's and it was on in the back. That doesn't count. You have to have put it on.
Wait,
Okay.
it doesn't count if you turn your TV on and before you change the channel, it's on your television.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a
Because it's
jump
already
scare.
set to ESPN. Yeah. You're like, well, I was watching a college basketball game on ESPN last night. Oh, shit. It's the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
Let me go put on
the U
Shawshank on TBS.
the UNC game ended and it cut to Helmet Horror or whatever the trivia game is called. Does
Oh, you're
that
talking
count?
about one of their games is called Satisfying Catches.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Hey, I'm hammering the under on that. Screw the Pro Bowl. I'll take that all the way home.
There's also a lot of races in this game. Not obviously
And what are they, Austin?
like actual races.
Which one would you call amazing?
There's a relay race, and not to be mistaken with the great football race. The relay race is a simultaneous relay style event where four players from each conference compete a 40-yard dash before handing a football to the next athlete on their team, continuing until the fourth and final leg crosses the finish line. And then there's the great football race. Six players from each conference will face off in a relay race consisting of five different challenges, culminating with a sled push. The team to cross the finish line first wins.
Why do those need to happen 3 days apart?
This is
So they can
elementary
rest and
school
recover.
field
They can
day.
rest
Yeah.
and recover. You're in
Yeah.
an ice bath after satisfying catches.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a good. I mean, yeah, you could get 1,000.
What
Oh,
a
well, you locked that
terrible
in.
Pro
That could
Bowl.
be. Yeah. This could be a pretty big get here.
This could be a very big get.
At what time does the decathlon start for the Pro Bowl?
Oh, it actually started this morning. They have to
Got
have
you.
players run the football to each other across all 50 states from where the Pro Bowl
That's what
was
it is.
last year.
It says here they
They're
also
passing
have
the torch.
Yeah.
new this year is breakdancing, I guess. We'll see how that goes down.
Would watch. They don't just. Okay, now I'm just have a bunch of guys do the 40 next to each other. All these guys do is talk shit to each other. Have them run 100 meters next to each other. I wouldn't watch it live, but I watch a highlight of like seeing if Tyreek Hill is still as fast as he
Yeah, I'll
tweets
catch
he
you
is.
when it hits Twitter. Yeah.
Let him play basketball. I might watch that.
Let
Not
him
live.
do anything.
Let
Just
him play
anything.
5-on-5
Just not
basketball.
not barroom trivia, not tug-of-war, not games you play at a Jewish sleepaway camp. Like, let's actually do something that involves athleticism. I'm over it.
Well, thank you so much, Tony, for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony,
Big
before we
weekend.
let you go, we got one last question for you. Is there anyone that you would like to challenge on this podcast? Someone that you think you would be able to beat with your fake winnings or losings?
Or losings. How dare you, Austin? Yeah, there is someone I would like to challenge. It's my good friend Tate Frazier, the man of UNC fame, the man who works for the Ringer. It is getting into college basketball season, and I do think he'd be a great voice to come on here and throw his fake money around for the fake bets. Probably covering his Tar Heels, who will not be in the March Madness tournament, so he'll need something to root for. It might be the time for him to come on this show.
Okay, Tate
Amazing.
Frazier. The challenge has been set by Tony himself. So you think you would beat Tate?
I would destroy Tate. Based on my Pro Bowl knowledge, I would destroy Tate.
Almost got that through with a straight face. Almost.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Best of luck on your bets. I mean, this could be a first place. This is a first place score here. If they all hit.
Yeah, if they all hit. This is yeah, and that's like saying like yeah, the Pro Bowl could be good if you know.
And
Don't
nothing
make
bad
me
has
pay
ever
attention
happened.
to this.
Yeah,
Don't make
Don't
me
worry.
pay attention
We'll
to this.
we do the watching, so
Yeah,
you
we'll
don't
do all
have
of it.
to.
Nothing bad has ever happened when someone said, and then once Russell Wilson comes through.
You convinced me with Alex Smith throwing checkdowns. That
That's
got
true.
Russell into my head.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tony.
absolutely. Thank you guys. This is a blast.
Massive big shout out to Tony. I mean, this is the most fun
Yeah.
thing. That's as much fun as I've had doing this, and it's a friggin' Pro Bowl episode.
It was the Pro Bowl episode. No, Tony is awesome. Guys, you should follow him. He says at the end of every one of his videos, follow me if you like sports. You
Yeah.
really should follow him because
Yeah.
he's got a take for everything, you know, and he covers the NFL extremely well. Tony
Yeah.
Squares, just search him on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Find him where
You'll
you do
find him
stuff.
on
Let
there.
me
Yeah.
let me lay my bets down here. I got $200 on the over on the score for the versus the age. It would be hilarious if a birthday happened. I didn't look that up. I have $250 on other in the position that wins dodgeball. Give me a way too competitive, ego-driven defensive back. I don't know who, but that feels
Ooh,
like
yeah.
someone who takes stuff too seriously and gets a little in his feels. Defensive back. So give me that. That could be 5-1. I'm not betting on Does Anyone Care? I'm gonna keep myself exempt from that one. Give me $200 locking in a bottom third player in the NFL winning an event. I'm looking at that 4x1 relay. And then give me $200 on a rushing touchdown. There's so many touchdowns, and give me $150 on over 1.5 guys falling in the foam pit because I just they'll either be having a good time or so mad.
I was thinking about that while I was making that bet. I think someone's just going to jump in voluntarily.
Right. I think it could be one in and then actually a good-hearted offensive lineman who wants to have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where I'm
I
landing
am.
with all mine.
I like that. I think that's a good strategy. I am taking the under on the score, final score, and age. I think it's going to get competitive. I'd say that it's the Pro Bowl. Why am I using the word competitive when talking about the Pro Bowl? I'm going to take the under for $200. I am also taking the other for $200 in dodgeball. I like the defensive back, or at least
Yeah.
the defensive player mentality. I think it's their time to shine and show off their ball skills. Does anyone that your head perked up? I shouldn't have. Does anyone care? I am taking the over for $100. I think you're gonna get just three people. I need just
Yeah, maybe
three
not way
people.
over, but over.
I'm hoping something viral happens in the game to where people flip it on.
Yeah.
If your text spawns them to flip it on, does that count?
No, we'll see. Are you also I'm gonna
Okay,
say, are you
damn it.
currently?
Am I one of the 15 people?
No.
It's just like me and Tony
Yeah.
are two of them, and you're like, and you get no's from each of us.
You don't even
Oh.
watch it to help yourself in the bet. That's how much you hate the Pro Bowl. I'm like, I landed it too, and Austin said he wasn't.
I took the over, and I'm still not watching.
Not watching the Pro Bowl is Austin's shitty limits.
Gosh, the cream of the crap. I'm gonna say $100 on yes. I do think a bottom third team because I think there is a punting competition, and nobody's
Yeah.
better at punting than the bottom teams. Rush of excitement. I am going no for $200 on rushing touchdowns, and that is going to be my lock. And then lastly, Tug-of-Bore, I do say yes for $200. I do think over under 1.5. I do think there's a chance like one of the guys like I don't know, maybe voluntarily jumps in, but it's only on that final round of
it's a solid bet
Tug-of-Bore. So if one team wins, because I think it's best of 3, so it may not even go to a third round. So it's just whatever is the last
I'm not learning
round.
any of the rules for this. Everyone,
in fact,
best
I'm
of luck,
retroactively erasing the movie Dodgeball from my brain.
If you got good bets going this week, good for you. If you have real bets going on, I tried to look up real lines on the Pro Bowl, and even DraftKings just gave me that shrugging emoticon guy.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we forgot about this.
Right.
Like, sure, you wouldn't rather bet on a South American horse race or something people watch?
It was like, no, really, you can. Yeah. We're not going to take your money for this. We'll just give you free money if you win your bets, but we're not going to take your money.
Yeah. Well, best of luck, everybody. Pro Bowl week. Yeah, next week we'll see what we got going on for the Super Bowl. So wait out for that.
Yeah. We are efforting some great guests, and if next week's guest is not great, then you'll know that all of our great guests that we have reached out to have turned us down. So, but we do tend to get great guests for Super Bowl week every year. I think 2 years ago was the first time we had Andrew Perloff on. Last year we had Jason Concepcion, formerly of The Ringer. Awesome. So, guys, follow at Korked Bats for all of the updates for this podcast, at Korked spelled with a K. And Kyle, do you got anything for the road?
No, everybody enjoy the Pro Bowl festivities.
Good luck on your bats. We love you.